Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for watching. This show is all about giving you insights and showcasing brands that help you to live your best life and give you confidence. As always, I want to kickstart your morning with some motivational advice to help you to feel inspired and energized to start your day. Today, I want to talk about the power of having faith. Many people underestimate the power that faith can have. The power of faith has been the result of some of the world's greatest inventions that man has created. It all started with someone who had an idea, put in the work to see it through, and who had the faith and a relentless belief that their work would pay off. You see, without faith, everything seems impossible. Lack of faith gives us doubts, a list of obstacles that might or could happen. It makes our efforts seem like they're in vain. However, when you have complete faith and belief in any area of your life, the impossible becomes possible. We see the unlimited possibilities that the world offers, and instead of seeing all of the reasons why we could fail, we see the one reason why our dreams can indeed become a reality. Having faith comes in all forms. It can be your faith in something higher than yourself, or simply the belief that you are destined for greater things. Wherever the source of your faith comes from, faith is the source of all possibilities. As the saying goes, your faith can move mountains and your doubts can create them.
Stay tuned. Coming up after the break.
What are you guys currently working on?
Oh man, right now, we got a brand new album called Translation. It's out right now, and that's what we've been doing during the pandemic. It's just, making music.
Next up on the show, we have Apl De Ap, who is a singer and record producer best known as a member of the Grammy Award-winning hip-hop group, the Black Eyed Peas. Apl, thank you so much for being on the show today. How are you doing in this early morning?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Blessed and thankful that, we're still able to do certain things, during the pandemic.
I mean, the Black Eyed Peas it's one of my favorite groups. And honestly, it's really an honor to have you on the show. So I'm really excited about this one. I was nervous. I was excited all these past couple of days. I've been putting it on my Instagram, just blasting it out. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. And, it's just an honor to be on this show.
Thank you so much. So let's get into when you discovered your passion for music and how it all started.
Well, I would say I was adopted from the Philippines, and I got to the U.S. at the age of 14. And, coming from, being adopted, I wanted to help my parents and my family have like an education, something academic. But I got to the U.S. and then the first person I met is will.i.am.
Yeah, incredible.
And then we started hanging out, and he inspired me to start rapping. One day he was just like, "Yo, because he was like, what do you do in Philippines,
Yeah.
I'm like, I couldn't speak English properly back then yet. I was like, I go to school and I like to take care of water buffaloes and I break dance.
Yeah.
Dance. He's like, what the hell, you break dance all the way from the Philippines? I'm like, yeah, I seen it on a movie or a Pepsi commercial, and I wanted to learn it. And so, I was practicing before I got to the U.S. And then that was like the common bond, like, oh, what, you break dancing? Like, show me. So, I had to show him a couple of moves. I did the Running Man. And it just like, we just clicked after that. And then one day he's like, yo, I'm gonna put on some beats. We were in a recreation room in our apartment building at a time. He's like, I'm gonna put on some beats and just like, just just freestyle, just say
Yeah.
anything on top of your head. I was like, what? I could barely speak English, man. Um, but he's like, yeah, just try to like put it on rhythm and like and put it on beat. And I was like, well, okay. So he put on the beat, the beat was going, and then the only thing I could think of was these lines, and it went like this. So, there was a beat, and then I was like, Abakada ega ila mananang o para sa tauaya. He's like, I knew it. I knew it. See, I knew it. You could rap. And he's like,
Oh,
what did you
wow.
say? And then he was like, what did you say? I was like, the ABCs in Tagalog. Oh,
Wow.
it just came, and then from then on, I started writing, I started practicing rapping and just writing my own lyrics. And then, I'm like, okay, I wanted to be a nurse or an architect.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I'm like, oh, because you know, um, no, I have a condition called nystagmus. I'm legally blind. So,
Yeah.
when I stumbled on music and rapping, I'm like, oh, wow, I could do this. With being a nurse, with my vision, it was going to be hard to administer shots. I'm like, where's the vein?
Yeah. Probably not a good
And,
idea.
and then back then, we didn't have the technology for architecture, with the acute angles. There's a lot of like small, you know, lines, but now we have that technology, and I'm actually thinking about going back to school for that.
Wow.
And then like, and when I stumbled on like, oh, I could write, I could make music. It just gave me the motivation, like, oh, I don't need my vision to do this. All I need is my brain, my soul, and my heart,
Yeah.
and it's
100%.
something that I could do, with the not with the disability and the challenges that I had. So music gave me that freedom to express myself and be creative.
Yeah, I think that's so inspirational that, you have vision problems. You said you were legally blind. I mean, that would stop the majority of people because people get stopped by little things, and this is something big, and it hasn't stopped you. I mean, you are so successful, and I think that's so amazing. So what kind of pushed you through? Did you ever have doubts, or did you ever think I can't do this, or what kind of pushed you through the fear to, go after your dreams no matter what?
Oh man, I go through it every day,
Yeah.
like I always have to like almost psych myself up every
Yeah.
day, like, you know, but like with 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 music and breakdancing, it just gave me like like I felt normal. I felt normal just in creating music, and you know what? And I didn't let it. I don't let it stop me from what I have to do, even if I have to like you know go beforehand and master the stage before I go
Yeah.
out with all the lights and the crowd. I do certain things. I do
Wow.
extra things to make me feel comfortable and make me feel confident. Which is going in advance and like checking out the stage. All right, I'm gonna be right here. I know there's gonna be lights right here. There's a hole right there. Watch out for that.
Yeah.
Then we're on stage, and like I always push myself. Like I think there was one teacher that like really helped me out growing up in the Philippines, because he would make me read the board, and I always like I'm like I can't read, I can't see from here.
Yeah.
I can't from here, it's hard for me to read it. She's like, well, get up. You get up and walk up to the board where you could read it. You know?
Yeah.
And at first I took it like, I took that as like, oh, she's picking on me.
Yeah.
You know, she already knows that I can't see, but she always picks me to read, you know? But, you know, now, like, you know, as I gotten older, I realized she was actually pushing me. You know, she didn't want to like just be the quiet kid in a classroom just because I couldn't read the board. She's like, well, get up and read it, you know? And of course, you know, when you're young, I was so embarrassed, you know. I was, you know, I had crushes, and then oh my God, she's seeing me do this, all of these things going on, you know. But like, you know, by going through all of that, that gave me strength in like whatever I do in life, you know. Even if it's a challenge, it's like, no, that can't stop you. You have to like push harder, you know. Like find ways of like, you know, like, because I could break dance, I could do somersaults and stuff like that. I'm like, how can you do that? I'm like, well, I could see enough that I could, you know, I could feel my body. I know, like, and I just think geometry in my head, you know? I think a lot inside in my head, like I envision everything. And those little things gives me like motivation and just like just normal, just like everybody else, you know?
That's incredible. You know, your story is exactly where I started doing my show. It's to inspire people and to teach them and show people like you who have, you know, defied the odds and have still made their dreams possible. So I'm really touched, and I actually got goosebumps when you said your story, because it's just, I know for me, I can share, obviously I'm not blind, but without my contacts, I cannot see. Like when I don't have my contacts on, like even light or like big blobs of you know,
right?
You know how it is, right?
After, you know, so you gotta kind of like, you gotta maneuver through that, right? And find your way, even just feeling things. And then you know, I'm so thankful that I find these little ways that keeps me going and not like be stifled in like, you know, with my disability.
Definitely, and that's the way to go, is to let nothing stop you. I had interviewed someone years back who climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. He climbed Mount Kilimanjaro with no legs. He was disabled from the waist down, and he climbed this mountain to raise money for charity. So I always like to see people who, you know, defy the odds and are determined to make their dreams happen no matter what. So I think that's incredible. Let's talk about all of your success with the Black Eyed Peas. You guys are so big. Everyone in the world knows you guys. But, you know, as you said, you met will.i.am a long time back. So how did you guys meet, and how did this whole group start?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I was a sponsored kid from the Philippines. But you know, there's a lot of like abandoned. We're called the Mauritian kids in the Philippines. You know, abandoned from like, you know, so American soldiers, and they were stationed there. And you know, my mom discovered a foundation called Pearl's Bug Foundation, where they support abandoned Mauritian kids, and what they do is they find they get sponsors from the U.S. to support a kid through schooling and a allowance monthly to help out, and my mom signed me up in that. And then you get to write a thank you letter, a thank you letter to your sponsor, and in my letters um, I would just tell my life story to my dad. Uh, and then I started along with like, hey dad, thank you for supporting me in my schooling and my family, and I truly appreciate all the for helping me out with my tuition fees and books and and at the same time you have to show your grades, I would just apologize. I'm sorry for my math grade.
Yeah.
I know it's pretty low because I'm having a hard time seeing the board, and then I told him the story about my nystagmus, and I'm having difficulties going to school, and so I'm sorry for my math grade. It's kind of
Yeah.
low. And then by telling him that story, he kind of like gave him the idea like, oh, I want to take you to the U.S.
Wow.
and have like American ophthalmologists look at your vision, because we're pretty, it's more advanced with technology. And then that's like, I think that sparked the whole adoption thing, and then took me to the U.S. back in 1986. Took me to all the top ophthalmologists from Jewel Stein to doctors in Beverly Hills, and came to find out it was you have to be under 7 years old to operate and fix this condition. So we found that out, and during our breaks, he would take me to like Disneyland and Universal Studio. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this is America. Like it just blew me away.
Yeah.
And I was like, one day during dinner, I was like, Mr. Hudgens, I'd like to help my family. Would you adopt me?
Aw.
It just came,
Yeah.
just came ahead, and he's like, oh, well, son, I have to talk to the Philippine government and your mother, and let's see, let's think about it. And then send me back to the Philippines, and then when I got back, he processed the adoption, and then 3 years later, then I got back to the U.S. in 1989, and then Will's my adopted father was best friend with Will.i.am's uncle.
Oh, wow.
And then before I was enrolled in school, they're like, my dad needed a babysitter before I was enrolled. So Will's uncle was like, oh, Joe, my sister Deborah could take care of Alan until he's enrolled, and she has a kid about the same age.
Wow.
And then they took me to East LA. That's where Will lives. And then Deborah, which is Will's mom, made him stay home from school to hang out from the kids from the Philippines. It's like, what?
Wow.
And then that's how we met, and it just kind of like evolved from that.
Wow. That's incredible. So it was written in the stars for you guys to meet and start this. I mean, that's what it sounds like. The fact that with everything you're telling me, it really sounds like it was meant to be. I'm sure your family is so proud of you looking back, a kid from the Philippines coming to America. They must be so proud of your success. What do they have to say about everything that you've accomplished?
Oh man, my mom, yeah, I could. I never know how to answer this question, because I felt, you know what? Here, I felt it one time. Like
Yeah.
I did it's called the Sea Games. I did the Sea Games in the Philippines, which is our Olympics that only comes like every 15 years. And I did I was part of the show. I did the concert for it and the whole ceremony. I was um, did the torch run and everything like that. And then my sister was in the audience. She was watching it live at the stadium. And after I did the whole show, I've never heard her say this before. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm so proud. I'm glad I'm your brother."
Aw.
I know,
Yeah.
like, you know, that made me like tear up.
Of course.
I mean, it's kind of hard to like, uh, you know, oh yeah, my family's proud of me. To me,
Yeah.
it's more like, I gotta always be on point for my family. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think like, you know, I think they're really, really, I think they're very proud.
Of course.
Um,
I'm sure they're beyond proud of you.
I, I think so. Yeah.
Let's talk about one of the milestones you've had in your career, because I'm sure there's been so many, over the years. But what's one milestone that really stands out for you in your career where you were like, okay, I made it?
A milestone was, well, I'm gonna do two. So, um, you know, in the music business, we really had to prove ourselves back in the days. Like, growing up in LA, it was, music industry was predominantly like gangster music back in the day. So, we would make demonstrations, and send them to like record companies. And we would always get like, because we were so different. We were, break dancers and positive lyrics, and just the culture of hip hop.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, you guys are talented, but I don't think your music is tangible. It's
Wow.
tangible, you know.
Yeah.
And that was pretty devastating to hear. Like, I'm like, tangible? What is that? Is that an orange? Tangerine? They tell me it's tangerine tangible. No, just kidding. And we really had to prove ourselves. We're like, we take no for an answer, and we're gonna prove it. We're gonna prove it that our music is tangible, whatever that word is. And then we would like play at lunchtime at colleges, UCLA, USC, Cali Pomona, and we just like, and then after the show, since there's no like internet or Facebook, we would get addresses, address,
Wow.
and then so we could mail them the flyer for the next show.
Wow.
And then our show started getting bigger. Start like, now every show is like, 500 to 1,000 to 2,000, and then the record company started approaching us again. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
It's like, remember those demos that we sent you guys?
Yeah.
So, and then that became a bidding war to sign the Black Eyed Peas. So that was a milestone,
Wow.
And another thing was, we were on our second album with Interscope, and we weren't making the quotas as they liked, and there was a fear of us, being dropped from the label. And we were a little bit on hiatus, kind of down, and then like, and then 9/11 happened, then we were due to go out on tour, and we were like, should we still do it? But we, things are, things are blowing up, buildings falling down, and we're like, should we still tour?
Yeah.
But then we like collectively we're like, all right, let's still do it. This is our calling. We're supposed to provide therapy or escape for people right now.
Exactly.
And then we still went on tour, and then by the end of that tour, we wrote "Where's the Love."
Yeah. Oh, that's such an amazing song.
Wrote "Where's the Love," and that got us like known internationally. That song, like, you know what I mean? We're not just like a national band. We became international after that.
Yeah.
And another one, after, I remember being homesick from being adopted, and I was like, I wanted to be sent back home because I miss my family. And then, me and Will would always be like, it's like, don't worry, App. We're gonna make it, man. We're gonna make it. Then we're gonna go back to Philippines and perform in front of your family.
Wow.
And that was like that was always like,
Yeah.
that was always a motivation. And then a decade later, we go back to Philippines and perform in front of my family. The president was there, the army was there, and yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any more epic than that, right? Especially with your family there. Sometimes that's all you need, just your family to say they're proud of you. No matter how much success you get, sometimes just your family being proud of you is all the success you really need sometimes, That's incredible. What an incredible story. What do you think the key to your success has been? Because as you said, Black Eyed Peas has always been really different. You guys have a really unique musical style. That's why I always loved you guys, because your music is different. It's not like the cookie cutter music on the radio. So what do you think has been the key to your success and the group's success?
Remaining a student in the game, and always have an open mind, and not being scared to push the envelope. We always try to incorporate like different things in our music. Our base is hip hop, but we like expanding and trying new music genres on how we can fit it into our style.
Yeah.
And as well as beyond a group, we are family.
Yeah.
We're brothers, and we're so open into like constructive criticism. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? When we're creating, we're not afraid to like, hey, I think you could do better, or let's try this, or let's, you know what I mean? Like, let's be open and thinking of like, not just thinking worldwide when you write music, and the way you the messaging and stuff like that, and like, don't forget your humble beginnings and where you come from. That always gives you that like extra edge of like, and like cherishing, and then like into like taking opportunities like really seriously, you know what I mean? You like, don't take it for granted. And our family, it keeps us grounded and motivated.
Yeah, I love that you said constructive criticism. I actually did a show on that a couple weeks ago where I talk about the importance of constructive criticism, because I feel that, so many people are able to give you advice but not take it. And then when you tell them, they get offended. But I think the key to success, as you said, and that's why you guys are so successful, is constantly growing. And as you said, being a student. So I really love that you said that. What are you guys currently working on?
Oh man, right now, we got a brand new album called Translation. It's out right now, and that's what we've been doing during the pandemic. Is just making music, providing that escape since we're all stuck at home. And you know, we've released how many singles now, from Ritmo to Feel the Beat to
Mamacita.
Loca, Mamacita, Vida Loca, and now the most anticipated song that asked for a video is called "Girls Like Me" featuring Shakira. So
Oh, wow. Nice.
we just finished that video, so it's being edited, and very excited for it to come out. And then we're working on J. Ray Soul's album. You know, I just discovered her from the Philippines, brought her to the U.S., and she's been featured all over Translation and Masters to the Sun album. And we've been developing her. So we're finishing her album and then working on the next translation.
Wow.
Translation.
Amazing. Honestly, I love your music, and thank you so much again for being on the show. It's been an honor, and it's been so inspirational. Like, I feel so inspired by your story. I feel pumped.
Thank you for letting me tell me my story. You know, there's so many kids just like me out there, and hopefully this will inspire.
It definitely will. So thank you so much for being on the show, and come back anytime. Anytime you would like to come, please come back.
I will. I will.
All right, thank you. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
Tag TV is available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple and Android TVs, as well as on Apple and Android phones. Watch us live through YouTube and Facebook.